Hey, Segovia, back with another one. Make sure you guys watch from start to finish. That helps the channel grow. But with that being said, let's get into it. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
So a near million-acre fire has been burning through Nebraska, if you didn't know, literally the size of fucking Rhode Island, and I've been noticing zero media coverage on it. Every camera, every reporter, every headline is pointed at the Middle East. Fire is approaching 1 million acres, one of the largest in U.S. history, and I just want you to think about this when considering this fire being in Nebraska, okay? Before we get to that, I just want you to think about this. Massive wildfires in Nebraska are threatening to slow efforts to rebuild the U.S. cattle herd, as key grazing land in one of the nation's top beef-producing states has been destroyed. Fires fueled by high winds have burned roughly 775,000 acres of pasture, removing a critical feed source for tens of thousands of cattle, according to state officials. Loss of grassland is expected to delay herd expansion plans, even as producers have been encouraged by historically strong cattle prices. You see where I'm going here? Now think about this. Nebraska just so happens to sit on top of the Ogallala aquifer, which just so happens to be the largest underground water source in America. Ogallala supplies 30% of all irrigation water used in U.S. agriculture. Think about this. While oil prices go up, fertilizer costs skyrocket. If shipping is interrupted, then grain exports also stall. This is happening during the biggest geopolitical crisis in 50 years. And you really think it's a coincidence?
Footage has just surfaced showing the moment the CRJ and fire truck collided at LaGuardia. If you don't want to see that, now's your chance to leave. It's not super clear, and it appears to be a video of a screen of a security camera, so definitely not the best quality. We'll pause here though. The CRJ enters the left side of the frame at a very high rate of speed, and on the right, although it looks like a blob of lights, is the fire truck. I'll let it play through now. Horrible. After seeing this, it feels like a miracle that there were only 2 deaths.
You could. I mean, how does this fire truck not see a freaking airplane with beaming lights on it coming straight at it? Right? They go through. You're crossing a major intersection. Even if you get the okay, you're clear to cross. You're gonna look, right? I mean, I would only guess. I mean, I look before I cross the street at least 3 times before I cross the street. But you're going down a major thing where airplanes are coming through and you know there's lives on those planes and you don't look before you go. You just go. That's kind of weird, y'all.
She's literally wearing a Van Cleef bracelet right here. She sees me recording her.
And a Van Cleef on her neck, too. And
what the heck?
Things you didn't know about the Sandy Hook Elementary tragedy. Alright, number 1, Adam Lanza murdered his mom before heading to Sandy Hook Elementary. On December 14, 2012, Adam Lanza, who was 20 years old, walked into his mom's room around 9 a.m. and then put a rifle up to her forehead while she was sleeping and pulled the trigger 4 times, which according to her autopsy said that it blew her face off. This was the rifle that he used that was found right next to her bed. And here's a close-up of it. If you look closely, there is blood stains on the barrel. They even released the photos of the bullets that they removed from her. This is her behind me, Nancy Lanza, who was 52 at the time. So after doing that, he heads over to Sandy Hook Elementary School, which is the same elementary school he went to as a kid. And this is a photo from when he was actually going to school there. It's so creepy to think that later in life he would come back to this school and just do something so terrible. And number 2, the tragedy was accidentally broadcast to every classroom in the school over the intercom system. All of the doors were locked at the school because school was in session, so he shot out the front window next to the door and just walked right through it. Barbara, who was working in the front office, heard this and got up to see what it was, and then instantly saw Adam with his gun, yelled out Sally, who was the nurse in the next office, and then ducked behind her desk. Because she ducked, he didn't end up seeing her, and then went to the nurse's office. Because she yelled out Sally, that was just enough time for her to hide behind her desk. So Adam walks into the nurse's office, looked around, and doesn't see her, but she sees his legs from underneath the desk. He looks around for a minute and then walks out and closes the door behind him. After that, the phone rang and Barbara at the front desk answered it, but when she did, she accidentally turned on the intercom, so all of the classrooms could hear what she was saying, and it was a teacher calling who heard the popping noises, and she wanted to see if it was okay. And then in a panic, she says, "There's someone in the building shooting, go into lockdown." So everyone in the school hears that. She hangs up, and then a parent actually calls, not about the shooting, about something else, and then she answers in a panic saying, "Oh my god, someone's here with a gun shooting," and crawls over to the nurse's office, and the intercom is left on. Near the front of the school was a conference room where the principal was having a parent-teacher meeting with a 3rd grade teacher, the school psychologist, and the parents. So the principal, Don Hucksprung, the school psychologist, Mary Sherlash, and the teacher, Miss Natalie Heyman, went into the hallway to see what was going on, and as soon as Adam, the shooter, sees them, he starts opening fire towards them, and all 3 try to get back into the conference room, but all 3 are hit. Unfortunately, the principal and the psychologist, they wouldn't make it, but the teacher, she ended up playing dead, and then once he walked past them, she crawled into the conference conference room and hid. This was all close enough to the front desk that this was picked up on the intercom, and everyone just heard their principal and psychologist being murdered.
Well, I love meat. You know what I mean? That's my favorite food. And if you cooked anything, I'll try it. Whether it be any kind of meat you could think of, put it that way. Any kind of.
That's that.
I'm not into his music. It's too dark.
So you're saying that if someone cooked up some human flesh for you, you would try it out?
Most definitely, with some seasoning salt.
Have you ever actually tried human flesh before?
No.
Okay. But you would actually try it if we had a human burger in the other room right now. You would go check it out.
Yeah, I'd have to see you cook it.
Okay. And you were one of the first ones to really do this.
Yeah, you know what the original thing was? I call mine rip gut.
They use a hypnosis technique called fractionation, which is where you bring somebody up. And like you'll see one of those videos of a grandpa holding his grandbaby, like that makes you almost cry. They'll pull you down into that. Then they'll punch you back up like 2 videos later, and you'll start to notice this. 2 videos later, it'll be a riot, someone robbing a store, fist fight, a car going way too fast, flipping off the road, an airplane almost crashing. So they get you up and down and up and down. And the more I can do that, this is proven that ramps up suggestibility. The more I can get you up and down, up and down. And what happens after you get like 4 or 5 cycles of up and down? You get an ad. And it's so reliable.
There's something weird about the Grand Canyon. About 65 million years ago, around the same time that the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs hit, a massive thick layer of rocks all rose together. This is the Colorado Plateau, and this land was literally taller. So the Colorado River, which traveled across this land, started traveling across steeper land, and it got faster and more aggressive. So over millions of years, the water cut through that rock, exposing layer after layer of Earth's history on the canyon wall. This is literally like pages of a book. We can date all of these rocks and sometimes the fossils within them. We can see that lava has poured down these canyon walls. There are several hundred documented caves and over 2,000 suspected, full of rare minerals and archaeological sites and fossils. We can see all of that, except the rock right here is 1.8 billion years old. The rock right here is 520 million years old. There should be 1 billion years of history right here, but there isn't. This is called an unconformity, and we see it all over the world, but it's very prevalent in the Grand Canyon, and scientists don't know exactly what caused it. The leading hypothesis is that this area was covered in glaciers. This would have overlapped with snowball Earth. And when the glaciers left, they dragged and eroded sediment away from the underlying rock in this whole area. To make it more complicated, this is what Earth looked like back then. So it's really hard to find answers. But remember, this was 500 million years before humans ever existed. So this is definitely like an Earth cause, not a conspiracy.
It's saying call 911. Call police. Bro, am I tripping? Bro, am I fucking tripping? And then he's calling me.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How about you?
Oh, good. Are you supposed to be up here?
You tell me.
Nope, you're not. Here we go.
One of the ex-Disney employees exposed one of the buildings in Epcot, and there's videos. So he goes in, it's like red rooms. He's going around it, door after door, opening it. There's weird paintings on the wall like that, posters, everything. So one of the lady in the building goes, oh, are you supposed to be here? The guy goes, yeah, I'm supposed to be here. He goes like, no, you're not. In the most evil tone. Yeah.
Are you supposed to be up here?
You tell me.
Nope, you're not.
Okay.
The guy's like, oh no, I'm gonna keep exploring. He's like, okay, if you're gonna keep exploring, I'm gonna call the cops. So the guy's like, okay, I'm gonna go with you and stuff like that. The girl keeps trying to distract the guy, like, oh, how's your day? Even though the guy's going like, oh, what's in this room? It's like, nope, how's your day? Like,
okay. Here we go.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. How are you?
I'm alright. How about you?
No, let's go this way, please.
Okay, what's back there?
No, we're just gonna go this way.
Oh, okay.
Are you enjoying it?
Something strange is going on. Bigfoot isn't even hiding anymore. If you guys haven't noticed, over the last few days in Ohio, there have been multiple Bigfoot sightings. In just a moment, I'm going to show you one of the videos that looks pretty real. That certainly doesn't mean it is real. It could be a hoax. They all could be a hoax. But I'm seeing a pattern here. Bigfoot, supernatural, paranormal things, they're becoming more and more prevalent everywhere. I want you to watch this video. Watch it closely, zoom in, take screenshots, do whatever you need to do. And I want you to tell me in the comments, could this be a real Bigfoot? If so, is it a biological Bigfoot or something more spiritual?
It just pulled the fuck back.
Uh-huh. We just had something pull the rope back. Really? I'm not even joking. John?
No, it just pulled.
Something just pulled the rope back.
That's crazy.
If we get dragged in, make sure you send the stabbing.
Mm-hmm.
No, because it already hit, right? Like it already hit ground?
Yeah, it already hit ground. No, something actually tugged it.
Then it tugged.
Like it was a fish.
No.
A social experiment once left 10 boys alone in a house for an entire week with no parents and no supervision. The house was fully stocked with food, toys, and everything they could need, while cameramen stayed nearby but were not allowed to interfere. The goal was to see how children behave when adults completely step back and whether kids can organize themselves without guidance. The boys, all strangers aged 11 to 12, quickly formed their own system. Within just a few hours, the house was already messy and chaotic. They voted for a leader, mostly lived on sugary snacks, and the group developed a clear hierarchy, almost like a real-life Lord of the Flies situation where some boys took control while others followed. A year later, researchers repeated the same experiment, but with a group of girls under the exact same conditions. Like the boys, they were strangers and had no adult supervision in the house. This time, the outcome looked very different. The girls moved into one room together, organized chores, and even took turns cooking proper meals for everyone. The house stayed far more organized overall. However, tension eventually started to build.
Oh, yeah.
Small conflicts turned into social divisions, and the girls began splitting into groups that stayed on different sides of the house.
So I want to show you what happens when someone that's paralyzed takes a microdose. I'm in a wheelchair and I'm paralyzed from here down, and I'll just show you kind of what happens after about 20 minutes. So it's been about 20 minutes and my legs are fired up right now, so I'm just going to turn the camera around and they'll just start to shake like this. And I usually help them by lifting them up. Any sort of sensation, like when I'm going like this, they're trying to fight me right now. Like I can't lift my leg really that well. It's clenching really hard. It's like my muscles turn on with just the slightest, the slightest touch. And that's after the smallest microdose. And so even going like this, it kind of throws me back in my chair a little bit. And so yeah, I do the little microdose before I get in the standing frame. And yeah, and so if you're curious to know what kind of recovery or what that could look like, I am documenting my journey. So yeah, follow me.
You want to see me walk again?
I'm really doing this as an experiment on the self. I don't really know what's gonna come of it, so let's see. Time to get out of this chair, time to get some standing in, and I'll see you next time.
Over 2,500 New York subway trains have been dumped in the Atlantic Ocean. Oh my God. This is part 200 and something of some of the worst submechanophobia things I've ever seen, and I did not know this, and I'm gonna go cry. This photo of it sinking in the ocean is going to haunt my nightmares. Why did they do this, might you ask? Why did they yote them into the ocean? Apparently it was to make artificial reefs for the fish. Excuse me. Fish do not need subway trains. Fish have existed for millennia. New York subway trains have barely existed for 100 years. What reason would they want this? The autistic fish are loving it, though. I can say that. I'm autistic. This is wrong. This is wrong. Why would you do this? Also, what's growing on them? It looks like asbestos. It might actually be asbestos. Look at this little guy. He's probably like, what? I didn't do my job properly? Why have you forsaken me, mother? But yeah, no, this is gross. The submechanophobia inside of me is freaking out, and I do not like this photo whatsoever. And what do you mean there are 2,500 of them? I'm gonna have nightmares that I'm stuck in the Atlantic Ocean and there are thousands of these down there now. Thank you so much.
Where is it? In Turkey. That's where all the good stuff is in Turkey.
Tell us what that is.
Göbekli Tepe is an ancient site. It's about 13,000 years old. Could be wrong on the date, but I'm pretty close. And it's pillars arranged in that align with astrological formations, that align with the seasons. They're carved with intricate designs, animals, writing, all kinds of stuff. And we're supposed to be hunter-gatherers with spears and buffalo at this point, not building these immense structures. And what's really strange about Göbekli Tepe...
That's not hunter-gatherer behavior.
No, it is not. That's very sophisticated behavior. It appears that it was buried intentionally. I can't explain why, but maybe it was someone knew something was coming and we need to protect this site. But that's very strange. That's not even the oldest structure we've found. Karahan Tepe is even older than Göbekli. So how?
So last night, I was getting a really bad feeling as far as the airport is concerned. You know, all the stuff that's been going on over there. And I talked to a friend that works for TSA. And things that they've been doing are super, super worrisome. Now, before you say, oh, Trump already talked to Iran and, everything's good, they're about to co-run the Strait of Hormuz, right when the president said that, Iran started shooting missiles over there. They said no deal, and they will continue to fight until they meet certain circumstances where they are defended for life. In New York City, of all places where that plane just went down, they are completely taking away their safety protocols. They're not checking people's shoes no more. They're really bypassing all their safety measures to make sure that people on the plane are safe. I wonder why. Then, of course, this is the second government shutdown, right? Why are we really having these shutdowns? Is it really just because one politician? The first time they went a month or two without pay. And here they are with a shutdown again. And the employees don't give a crap no more. Because who wants to go to work for 2 months and not get paid? At the same time, we have ICE standing over these TSA workers. I mean, it seems like they're deliberately trying to make these people mad and not come back for some reason. At the same time, we have terror alerts all over the United States as well as in other countries. And if you think for some reason you'll know when stuff goes down, right now Iran is threatening to cut the undersea cables. If you're one of the people that think that all your internet comes from satellites, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. 99% of it comes from undersea cables. And of course, planes keep going down. Kind of reminds me of a movie that came out recently talking about, the end of the world stuff, right? Let me know what you think below.
Praying to angels and speaking to the dead is not biblical.
I actually just did my first Archangel Michael meditation the other day because I wanted to call him in for protection.
And I also do Archangel Michael. Just like imagine yourself like a white light.
The Bible is very clear here. We are not supposed to be praying to angels, and Satan masquerades as an angel of light. But what about speaking to the dead?
Has your children known you had this ability ever since they were born?
Since they were little. My kids, when they went to school, people are sharing, my dad's a police officer. There's my kids. My mom speaks to dead people.
And this is where it gets dangerous. The Bible doesn't just warn about this, it actually forbids it. We're told not to try to speak to the dead and not try to seek the spirit realm outside of God. And most people don't realize why this matters. The reason is because not every spiritual experience is from God. I know this personally because before I gave my life to Christ, I was deep into New Age spirituality. I want to point out that I'm not trying to attack them. Her and Jelly Roll have said that they gave their life to Jesus. I just pray that he reveals these truths to them. But as Christians, we should have discernment about these things, and God literally gave us the playbook. There's a full breakdown on YouTube, which is linked in my bio.
A warning to shoppers from police in Independence, Missouri. They're investigating after Barbie dolls sold at a local discount store were found to have possibly been contaminated with fentanyl. Police believe it happened before the dolls arrived at the store. 5 packages were sold. All have been recovered, and thankfully no one was hurt.
So we're looking at the Google solar farm. I've gone over that a few times before. It's a bunch of mirrors that surround a central tower. They reflect the light from the sun. They heat whatever's in the center tower to a boiling point and turn a turbine. So it's a renewable source electricity, and they're super cool to see. You can see it from hundreds of miles away because that tower just lights up, and even though it's daylight outside, it's just like the thing's glowing. It's like the color of the sun from 150 or 200 miles away.
I mean, they'll even put those everywhere around these data centers, getting free electricity, and they'll still raise our electricity so they can make more money. That's how twisted these people are.
People think they go when they die.
Well, they know they go to hell.
Why would you want to go to hell?
Well, because they have a false impression, because the demons will leave us with this, is that if they do a lot of evil in this life, which empowers the demons, then that will give them power when they get to hell. And so when they have that, and they actually believe the exercise of their power in hell will be something that they can then have a kind of a comfortable hell, or it's not going to be as bad because I have all this power. And part of it is that they just have an aversion towards things that are good anyway, and so they don't want to go that route. But they so I'm going to end up in hell, so I might as well get as far as I can. And that's one of the things we're seeing among some of the Satanists now, is that's why they engage in things like and things of that sort, because they're thinking that once they get to hell, they're going to have all this power. But what they don't realize is that something which Satan himself actually once said to me, because I was noticing something in his behavior, because I wrote 3 books in psychology. So one of the things I just started doing is watching patterns of behavior of these guys, and both as individuals and as general, a lot of demons. And I said to him, your exercise of power in hell is actually painful, isn't it? It's not pleasant. He says, no, I hate it. He says, I use it to keep, to try and protect myself, but I hate it. And so they don't seem to realize that even they might get a certain amount of delight in having all this power in this life, but even if they have it in the next, they'll be miserable. And they don't see it.
They're miserable in this life too.
They are miserable, but they think it's going to be like this life.
What about sleep paralysis? What is that?
Sleep paralysis? There's 2 different kinds of sleep paralysis.
At least in my lifetime, I've had more than 15, promise you.
Okay, now, have you gone to the doctor, and have you ever figured out if you have a medical reason why you have?
They always said it's like, oh, it's because you're a REM sleep, like psychological, the science reason.
That's what
I've never seen anything.
Never seen nothing?
Never seen anything. I'm stuck.
You just stuck, like someone's holding you, but you can't.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, the science part, there is sleep paralysis that you can't move. Now, this is all your cells and all in your body que se entumen. The other part is just tú tienes algo que recogiste. Un muerte deja pasar.
Oh, wow.
Hay gente que hasta grita, pero they can't even get the words out, but
Yep.
Okay, these are the 2 questions, right, that I ask most people on a consulta. Do you have dreams of falling into yourself? Like if you're going through like a whale, and then like in the dream you see you're falling through a whale, then fall into your body like you just fucking did. Or if you ever feel like you were trying to move and get up and you couldn't, like if something was holding you, that's another one. It's very tricky to distinguish if the person. So the first bad thing is go check yourself medical, because there's some different things that you already have from just hereditary medical issues. But if you're fine and healthy, yeah, there's something attached to you that obviously at that moment in time that you're being asleep to being awakened, and then when you try to wake up, it's holding you. I mean, if you said you had one 15 times,
like years ago, I was a kid. I was a kid. I think the last time I had one maybe a couple years ago, but when I was a kid to a teenager.
Yeah.
There were some files missing.
Yep.
3 million. I mean, they're in there, but did you see the chart of the years that they're really missing from?
Mm-hmm.
Can we pull up that, please, Thief? Just so people can see this. I have to rethink everything. I have to rethink things that in the past I would have said were, I feel okay about this take, and now I have to look at it and say, Julian, that was a ice cold, scalding ice cold, if you will, take.
A shadow commission. It takes my breath away. Oh my God. This should be the better headline. I mean, nobody believes what the 9/11 Commission concluded anyway. But the fact that there was a shadow commission with a secret membership list? And Ghislaine Maxwell talks about it.
Why? And it's like, this goes back to a compartmentalization thing too, John, because 2 meetings that occur at the White House, one of them with Condoleezza Rice, where CIA tell them an attack's coming.
Moni Love said on The Breakfast Club that she saw Jay-Z in 88 in London in a fucking crazy ass flat.
Yep.
And he was there for like 5 months.
5 months, had the state-of-the-art studio. Now, what did Jay-Z say? I've been spending money since 88.
Oh, there's that 88 again.
There's that 88. So he says it in the lyrics. I'm still spending money from 88. She says, I seen you in 88. So who are you?
Who's he really?
Who are you really? You don't think he had the clout in 96 to be with Harvey Weinstein at that point?
I mean, he was supposedly a big dope dealer. So were you the dope dealer for the elites and that's how you got in?
Yeah.
He also performed at the Vatican. Pusha T, by the way.
There you go.
Wait, Paul, how do you... Pusha T performed at the Vatican in 2025.
How do you perform at the Vatican?
Cut scene, he's on the Epstein file.
Well, they said that he visited the Vatican. They're saying the timeline doesn't add up. See, we don't know, but he did have some ties to the Vatican. He was there. He visited the Pope at the time.
Joe Rogan, I'm not sure if you've seen this, but he went on a podcast. And Joe Rogan doesn't do other podcasts, right? And he said that Jesus may return as an AI. You can actually Google this.
Yeah, I saw him say that. If Jesus does return, you don't think that he could return as artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence could absolutely return as Jesus.
Why would you, Joe Rogan, say something so absurd? Joe Rogan's a smart guy. I listen to his podcast a lot. And he doesn't say anything like that in his podcast. It's completely out of character. So he went on another show in order to purposely embed the idea that, you know what, Jesus could return as AI. There's also talk of that they're going to use AI, like Peter Thiel and Sam Altman, to summon Sumerian demons. So what all these people want to do is they want to create a one world government based in Jerusalem and basically use AI to create a surveillance state that brings peace and prosperity to the world.
As I opened the front door, I instantly received a pint of sulfuric acid to the face, whilst my attacker said, "This is for you, mate," and ran. Thankfully, I've worked around corrosive substances a lot in the hospitality industry, swimming pools in particular. I knew it was acid straight away, which was probably the first saving grace. My t-shirt just disintegrated. It just rolled into nothing, just rolled away, just disappeared. That was obviously the first telling sign. My ex-wife, Per, she had been up all night with our youngest. He'd had a fever, so he was upstairs in bed with her, which kept them out of harm's way, thankfully. And I yelled up to her, "Call 909. Someone's just thrown acid in my face." And as I knew it was acids, logically, I knew I had to get water. I didn't know it was the right thing to do at the time. But I ran through the house, got to the kitchen, took off what clothes I could, and started dousing myself with as much water as I could in the kitchen sink.
You want to hear a crazy coincidence pertaining to history? December 5th, 1664, a ship sank off the coast of Wales in the Menai Strait. 81 people on the ship died, and there was only one survivor, and his name was Hugh Williams. December 5th, 1785, a ship sunk in the exact same spot. Everyone died except one person. Can you guess his name?
Hugh Williams.
Hugh Williams.
What?
August 5th, 1821, a ship sank in this same spot. One survivor, Hugh Williams. August 19th, 1889, a coal barge sunk, same spot. Except this time, there was two survivors. Can you guess their name?
Huey and Hugh.
Both named Hugh Williams.
That's
five Hugh Williams.
How was that
Who
possible?
wrote this story?
It seems
Hugh
like
Williams?
this guy's like a time traveler.
Yeah.
He's like, I gotta fix this.
Because he's like, I got to stop this ship.
Japan, if you have never been, is like going into the future. All the infrastructure is amazing. The food is super clean. You can go into a 7-Eleven, like a gas station, and get healthier food than most American restaurants. I came back. It was culture shock. Like everything in Japan works. The sinks work, the airport works, everything's clean. I get back to LAX and I'm like, I'm in a complete hellhole right now. It's dirty. I go into the bathroom, 3 sinks don't work. Then I'm like trying to get soap, doesn't work. Just would never happen in Japan. And then also at the same time, you're walking through LAX and just people are like obese, they're unkept, they're like not clean. People are like screaming, yelling. It's like so loud in Japan. There's no obese people. Like everybody is fit and everybody's quiet, orderly, super nice. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. Like it's just a different culture, but there's a distinct culture shock that happens when you come back.
I think maybe like they're just behind. All these places like that are just behind. The greed hasn't quite reached over there yet. Right? We see 7-Elevens, we see McDonald's making its way over there, but the greed hasn't infiltrated the culture yet. Right? Because back here, where all these things started, the greed, was back in the 50s, 60s. Everyone was fit. Everyone was outside at the beach. You look at pictures, everyone's ripped. Everyone's, good looking. Maybe just the greed hasn't quite infiltrated those cultures yet, right? There's still people that want what's best for the people, just like we did back in the 50s and 60s that, they wanted what's best for the people in the 40s, right? We're all together. Maybe the greed just hasn't hit out there yet. But once that greed comes, once those people in power start making profit and that's all that runs their life, maybe that's when things change. I don't know.
Meu Deus do céu, são centenas.
No YouTube, é uma fazenda de visualização.
Quem montou isso aqui gastou uma fortuna.
A gente precisa chamar o pessoal da inteligência agora.
Nosso celular até o teto.
Parece uma colmeia. Vai dar country. No, really, you are. You can't come back. Why would you do that? You can't.
I guess we're all going to Canada, guys.
0.03% of our acres. Out of 24 million acres, it's roughly 9,000 acres in Iowa, is used to produce any produce, food that will end up on your plate in its original form. So it's primarily...
Holy shit. It's all chemicals.
It's like, so they're producing ethanol. They're, we can talk about these things, but they're producing feed that will then be shipped out of state for animals and shipped out of our country for animals. Iowa has the best farmland in the world, I would say, and we import 95% of our food. So there's a big movement of people that want to see, homesteading and smaller farms crop up. But when you have out-of-state investors that are coming in and buying up land and jacking up the price of land, there's not one young person that can afford to get on land.
Yeah.
And so your statistics, I look at it from even a different perspective. I look at it from this perspective that aging population of farmers, they're on break-even margins now because they're being extorted by big agriculture companies that continue to raise their prices even as commodity prices stay the same or drop because they form monopolies now.
What I'm saying, the greed is everywhere. It's in the farmers. It's in everywhere. The greed, y'all. They'd rather get our meat from China because it's 10 cents a pound instead of getting it locally, right? These places like Japan, I don't know, maybe they're all, they're local, building the economy, doing this, right? The greed hasn't infiltrated over there. The greed is here everywhere. That guy just said prices drop, but they still keep them high. It's just a monopoly. It's the greed.
The distractions. All right. How come nobody's talking about this? As of March 2026, major wildfires in Nebraska have burned over 700,000 to nearly 827,000 acres, marking some of the largest fires in the state history. Key blazes, including the massive Morrill Fire and the Cottonwood Fire, have necessitated emergency proclamations and evacuations across multiple counties. But it just so happens that all of this sits on top of one of the largest aquifer. The primary aquifer system under Nebraska is the High Plains aquifer, of which the Ogallala aquifer is the largest and most well-known component. Nebraska sits atop the thickest and most water-rich portion of this system, containing roughly 65% of the entire High Plains aquifer's total water storage. Y'all, machines are taking over the world, okay? The Nephilim are disembodied spirits. Demons are disembodied spirits of the Nephilim. They have to have a body. They have to have a medium, all right? Listen, fallen angels don't, but demons do. Fallen angels are different, all right? They're interdimensional beings. All right? They can shapeshift and do all kinds of things that you can't even imagine. Kind of like Jesus walked through walls and stuff like that. And angels appeared as men all through the Old Testament and the New Testament.
She's, when I came to pick her up and she wasn't here. Yes. So she's inside she's inside the daycare. She just came up to the door
I'm breaking that window if it's locked.
Yeah, she's crying. She's inside by herself.
I'm breaking that window, y'all.
Okay, honey. I have an officer on the way there. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Just stay near the door. Just keep her near the door.
Okay.
How old is your child?
She's 2. She's only 2.
Okay, he's on the way. He should be there momentarily, all right?
Okay, thank you.
Does she look okay other than being frightened?
She just looks scared and she's just crying. She's just staring at me.
Okay, all right. The officer should be there momentarily, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Breaking windows, y'all. I'm breaking windows.
Bye.
Aw.
I'm coming, baby.
In the
Okay?
dark? Fuck,
I'm
that piss-
coming.
Like, it just hits me so different now. Like, I'm 36. Barely had my first kid. He's a year old, right? These things hit me now, y'all. Like, seeing that kid scared like that in a dark room, like, it pisses me off. It pisses me off. You know, watching movies now and just seeing, like, God, just some parents just don't care. Or hearing stories of, grown men saying, I was such a bad adult because I used to get the hell beat out of me when I was a little kid. I'm like, I can't even think. Or hearing people say, like, yeah, in our community, in our culture, we get all these credit cards and put it in the kid's name and ruin his credits. I'm like, oh man, like, it just hits now. It hits now when that stuff never used to hit. Like, I was watching the movie South Central on YouTube. It was free, and just seeing that kid get shot in the back stealing a stereo, like, I've seen that movie 30 times and texting, whatever, not even paying it. But now I'm like, it breaks my heart. Y'all, it's different. It's a trip.
As a farmer, I thought I'd bring this story to you because it seems that nobody else is covering it. In Nebraska right now, there is 775,000 acres on fire. And for those who don't know, Nebraska is home to 40,000 heads of cattle, with an alarmingly low cattle herd size in the United States at this time, the lowest it's been in years. This is going to bring beef prices through the roof, not double, not triple, but through the roof. Coupled that with the high price of energy because of what's going on in the East, in the Persian Gulf, because of your lovely president. Now you're going to have skyrocketing energy prices, lower heads
What a
of cattle,
coincidence, right?
increasing the price of that protein, and coupling it all with the farmers that are only going to get subsidies. You see, they don't want farmers farming anymore. They want farmers on welfare. And by subsidies, they're telling cattle ranchers and other farmers that, you know what, don't worry, just sit at home and we'll pay you. We'll pay you a couple bucks just to, like, keep the lights on and maybe heat your house a little bit. But we don't want you to farm anymore. And farmers, that's not why we became farmers. We didn't want handouts from the government. We didn't want people telling us that we have $1 million equipment and what, we can't even make the payments on it. And the fact of the matter is that the more people get out of farming, the more these corporations are going to step in and feed you guys processed foods. But we're long past the point of return. We're not coming back from this. More and more farmers are getting out of the business. More and more farmers are taking their own lives. And this is a huge problem that they're not talking about. We'll talk about that on another day. There you have it.
Most people don't know this.
The arrest of one of the biggest cartel heads in history from Mexico, El Mayo Zambada. He was arrested in Texas. They flew him into a private airfield under pretty interesting circumstances, and then he handed himself over to authorities. He was arrested there. I mean, that kicked off a lot of violence in Mexico.
Why was he willing to fly in?
So there's different stories around it. He's told his own story. He's actually talked about this many times openly with his drivers and stuff like that are driving around. So he just speaks about it. He's older now. He was a ghost. This is El Mayo Zambada was the legitimate leader of the Sinaloa cartel. The U.S. would say that it was Chapo Guzman. Not really. The Sinaloa cartel was a federation. And a lot of the bigger, older parts of that cartel were kind of headed up by this figure, El Mayo Zambada, who in 50 years was never arrested, never grabbed, never caught. You would hear about him vaguely in certain circles, but everybody knew that guy's the head of the Sinaloa cartel, or he's the bigger guy in that organization, which is a federation of groups.
Stories like this show how power really works behind the scenes. Not everything is what it seems. What do you think really happened here?
I've never seen a cancer patient that didn't have an oral infection. 100% of the cancer patients I've consulted with, it's been dozens, if not hundreds. That's the first question when people come to me and they say they got cancer or primary tumor that's even metastatic disease. I go, do you have any root canals? Well, I've seen patients with ALS type symptoms, neurological symptoms that were poorly managed for 10 or 15 years. And we just have a conversation about root canals, and, they roll into the dentist into a wheelchair and they walk out.
Wow.
They walk out when they clean up the infection. Same thing with my dad. My dad was chronically ill. He had a car accident in 1984. He's paraplegic and had a number of chronic conditions. And same thing, we couldn't get him better. So I took him to a dentist, got all the mercury removed from his mouth, got the root canals, teeth extracted, cleaned up the infections. And remarkably, he's doing great for a 76-year-old paraplegic.
Wow. Watching this video gives me goosebumps, and this is actually why I'm doing my job, because I 100% agree with Dr. Nathan Bryan that the most overlooked part in complete medical world is the oral cavity, especially previous dental repair. Killer number one is stress, chronic inflammation. A hidden source of chronic inflammation oftentimes is previous dental repair. Do you have any metals in your mouth? Is there any root canal treated tooth in your mouth, or did they remove your wisdom teeth? If any of the answers is a yes, then there is room for oral health optimization, and you need to see a certified real biodentist to get you sorted on your journey to optimal health, starting from the mouth. Cheers, Dr. Dome.
Some of the ways that I saw the bribe start. First one I saw was a rep came in and invited a doctor, because I was listening, to Bimini for a 5-day snorkeling vacation. And I was passed out when I heard that. One rep from California said, well, I bought my doctor a $15,000 Birkin handbag. The other Midwestern rep said he didn't like his doctor's suit, so he bought him a $5,000 to $6,000 Armani suit and expensed it on their expense reports. It went from golfing to renting a box for a big concert to Phillies games, Eagles games, strip clubs, lap dances, you name it, they received it as gifts and bribes. My name is Lisa Prada. I was pharmaceutical sales rep for 32 years. The first place I was there 17 years was Carter Wallace. Then I went to AstraZeneca. Then I went to Abbott, Serono, and then I went to Questcor.
Probably going to cut off
When an MS
part
patient
one. So.
has an exacerbation or an attack or a flare, they're injected with Acthar, and it calms down and reduces inflammation, thus improving their symptoms. The FDA approves the medication, but there are specific dosages that must be followed, because that is what the FDA approves the drug for. It is illegal to sell the drug other than what is in that package insert.
That's what you were pressured to do.
Absolutely, yes. Not pressured, told. It was an order. Acthar was approved for 4 vials for 20 days. Each vial is 5 days. But Questcor wanted it for 5 days, which is 1 vial, in order to get approval for Medicare, Medicaid, and the other insurance companies. I knew in my heart that was off-label, and I knew that the patients were never going to get better, and they were going to progress downward in their disease and get worse. I was getting the pressure when I rode with my manager, especially. Each rep usually rides with your manager once a month for 2 straight days, and they go in on the calls. They would yell at me in the car, "Why aren't you selling a 5-day? Your sales are down." I said, because it's not the same dose as the package insert, and I don't want to go to jail. One yelled at me so bad, his veins were bulging out of his neck. You're going to do this. I don't care. I was afraid for my safety because I was afraid he might haul off and punch me or choke me. What they would do is they would approach a physician who maybe had no experience, and they would say, hey, how would you like to do a study? We'll pay you X amount of dollars to do the study, but it only 10 patients, and we'll pay you $500 per patient.
To be that guinea pig.
This was just, to me, a bogus study that would never wind up an abstract or even accepted into a major journal. But subliminally, it was conditioning them to become an Acthar cheerleader. They would use the drug, and they were in condition to using Acthar and prescribing it. So it was subliminal conditioning by paying them. And then, well, this ain't too bad, so I'll use it on my patients. And then their prescribing habits change. They'll think of the dollars. Well, the competitor, Solumedrol, is not giving me any cash. I'll go with who's paying me.
Like, topic of today's video is greed, right? They keep us sick so they can keep giving us this stuff. And that stuff isn't going to cure us. And the things that keep us sick, they put addictive things in there so that we keep eating it. So we got to keep taking the pills. That pill gives us a side effect. So they give us another pill for that side effect, another pill for that side effect. And it just never ends. It just never ends. It's just greed, y'all. It's sickening. It's sickening.
This guy's doing.
Oh, this is crazy, y'all. Imagine if someone was walking with the stroller and then hit the kid. Oh. I don't understand people, man.
Two-piece, it's a UFO for real. No, we not making this shit up. Look at her, she gonna put. It's a UFO for real, y'all.
It's like a light pole.
That is crazy. Y'all, that's crazy. So we're in traffic and the cops stopped traffic. There was a body in the highway and he just dragged it off to the side. So here we are stopped. Oh my gosh. There was a dead body in the middle of the freeway.
I'm a believer.
Have you seen any UFOs since then, or had any, direct contact experiences?
Not
with
direct contact,
things?
but we were on 4th of July where I live. It's a great place to watch the 4th of July fireworks. And I looked up and I said, oh, I think that's Jupiter. And they said, no, Jupiter's over there. And I said, oh, no, it's pretty bright, isn't it? So I had binoculars and looked at it with the binoculars, and it was going side to side. You couldn't perceive it without the binoculars. And I handed the binoculars another guy, and he said, look at this, is that moving? And he said, yeah, it's moving. So then he gave back to me, and it starts into a zigzag, and then kind of shot off towards the north. So there was no real interaction. And I said to this friend, I said, that's a UFO.
This was sent to me from a follower, Crane Hill, Alabama. I guess he was out scouting for property. He was looking to purchase a property to build a house on. Crane Hill, Alabama. And he was on, I guess, Realtor.com or whatever, Google Earth, Google Maps, and he found a property he was interested in. So he pulled this property up and he was scrolling through the woods, scrolling through the fields, and he found something. And in a minute here, I'm going to show it to you all. He sent it to me and he goes, don't think I'm crazy, but to me, these images look like zombies. Is it a group of people having a party? Is it a zombie party? Is there a glitch in the Matrix? What exactly is going on? But I'm going to show you this picture and you tell me, are there zombies in Alabama? My mind's blown between Jeepers Creepers, shadow people, ghosts, and now we have zombies in Alabama. But I don't know, I've heard a lot of weird things. I don't know if it's just people playing with AI, people trying to screw with me, but you check out this picture and you tell me what you see. Because to me it looks like a horde of zombies, a swarm, walking through a giant field in the middle of nowhere. See what you think.
Have they found that lady mama yet? Because something
Happened.
just won't add up. Didn't the news just stop posting? Where's she at?
The night before 9/11, my wife and I had a pretty bad argument. Didn't get physical. It was about money, right? So, because when I went from NYPD, a homicide detective with overtime, I made about $83,000. Feds don't get overtime. Eventually, your salary goes up, and I had to take a big pay cut. So I went down to about $49,000.
That's a huge pay cut.
Yeah, yeah. So we argued over money. So our routine in the house is kiss goodnight. If somebody goes out for a gallon of milk, there's a kiss. Because as a detective, I know plenty of people that I show up at a scene that they didn't get a kiss goodnight or whatever to their family. They went to go buy something and they got killed in a grocery store robbery or they got mugged or something. So it was just kind of weird thing, I guess. But that was just our thing. So September 10th, there was no kiss goodnight. I was pissed, right? September 11th, I get up. I went to work. No kiss. When all of this shit was happening, you know, you're a cop.
Oh, you were thinking about.
And it's probably going to be hard for some folks to understand. It's like you want to be helpful. You want to do something. You're doing all of these crazy things. On the morning of September 13th, I go home. And my wife and kids are standing outside. My kids are in Catholic school uniforms because Yonkers school sucked. So they went to Catholic school. And there's a UPS truck on the other side of the street. So to my left, there's this UPS truck. I get out of the car. I'm still covered in dirt. I'm in a different car because my government car got crushed. So they gave us new cars. I drive home. I'm in this brand new Ford Explorer. Still have the sticker in the window. So my wife didn't know who I was until I got out of the car. And UPS guy comes and hugs me, starts crying. It's like, hey, man, thanks. So he obviously knew where I was coming from. And then I get across the street to my wife. And my wife is a little bit like, hey, good to see you. We need to talk. And what I learned, and which still really bothers me to this day, was when the South Tower fell, my wife sent her mother to school to pick up my kids and bring them home. And
please don't cut off.
For 2 days, they waited for a chaplain to come knock on the door. I never called home. For 2 days, I was there digging, doing what we did. And never thought about my family. Because that's what cops do, right? We get so caught up in the work that you sometimes forget about what's important. So here, 25 plus years, or 25 years later, I still feel guilty that I went there, did what I thought I was supposed to do, but never stopped to think about the people at home who were worried about me. So much, and it bothers me because for 2 days, my wife thought our last conversation was an argument over money. So sorry about that.
I mean, and all that, y'all. And is he going to come out one day, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now? That the CIA, whoever, had something to do with that? Or they knew it was going to go down and they didn't prevent it? I mean, we just saw earlier that it was in the Epstein files. That was blacked out. That file was blacked out.
Wolf head the size of my window, and he was trotting along next to me, and he was looking down inside of my cab, and I'm at 9 feet tall. And I was hearing a vocalization that wasn't natural.
Fucked up.
I got in the truck, started driving, and as I looked in my right side mirror, there was a wolf head. His yellow eyes were darting all over the place. I had a gun and I just pulled it and shot twice and it went down. I knew it was dead, but I wanted to make sure. So I turned around. As I was coming back, I'm looking right where that werewolf was laying. It was gone now, and there was a Jeep parked, and there was a man and a woman there, and they were just looking at me a little bewildered. I was detained. A couple of federal officials said, you killed one of our assets, and this is how things are going to go down from this point on. They took my gun, and they shut my bank account off. They keep people quiet, and I'm just not going to stay quiet because too many people are getting killed by these things and don't even know they're out there because of the suppression from the government.
What in the world do we think happened here? This place is for sale right now in Monroe, Michigan for under $100,000, which is unheard of in this day and age. And it's actually cute on the outside, but the price makes a lot more sense when you see the inside. So many of you sent me this listing for my Zillow series, and I'm really disappointed that Despite all of my research, I could not figure out what happened in this house. Some people were speculating that it could have been a foreclosure, saying that sometimes people will trash a house when they find out that the bank is taking it over. Sometimes, if that's the case, the home is listed as a foreclosure instead of just saying that it's for sale. But in the state of Michigan, they have no legal obligation to tell you that the home is a foreclosure, as long as they're showing pictures that accurately represent the state of the house. I think what's even more concerning is that there's evidence that children lived in this house. And if a foreclosure is the case, it seems like the parents gave their children a bucket full of red paint and red markers and told them to go crazy on the walls. At least I can hope that it didn't look this way while they were living there.
Keep saying Los Angeles is the city of angels. It is the city of angels, but it's the city of the fallen angels, bro. It ain't nothing but evil energy in LA. It ain't nothing but people that the souls of people that had died tragic deaths still walking around there. You know what I'm saying? And when there's a lot of negative energy like that, you feel me? It creates a lot of like misunderstanding, betrayal, disloyalty, and it just people don't understand this. Los Angeles is haunted, bro. Where do y'all think these souls went? These evil gangbanging souls that was murdered on the streets that don't even know they get. Where do you think they at? Southern California is haunted, bro. Compton is haunted. Long Beach is haunted. South Central is haunted. It ain't nothing but miserable, negative energies and lost souls walking around there. When I say lost souls, I mean that literally. I'm not saying the people is lost souls. No, there's real things that we can't see that's in the streets of LA. This is decades of murders and violence and betrayal and lies, bro. It's haunted. And it's more of the black side of it. I believe Los Angeles is haunted, bro. And a lot of these dudes are possessed. You know what I'm saying? I believe there's literally lost souls walking around LA, lost people that ain't got killed. Bro, I know my father could be one of them because he died a brutal death in the streets of Los Angeles off of 35th and Western. So I believe it's haunted. I believe a lot of dudes is possessed. You know what I'm saying? That's why nothing works. You feel me? And Los Angeles is the home of the fallen angels, bro. That's how I feel. I feel like that. Them souls just don't go nowhere. They don't just go away. It's a lot of energy there, bro. A lot of bad energy there, bro. And you can feel it when you rolling up the streets. And it's getting worse and worse by the years and by the decades, bro. And I say that anybody can tell you this. If you think of Los Angeles and from the 1990s, the 1980s, from the 90s to 80s to 70s, even the early 2000s, you can see the energy, how the energy kept changing for the worse. You feel what I'm saying? 70s had a different energy, 80s had a different energy, 90s had a different energy, early 2000s got a different energy. Now you look now, it's just nothing got that glow anymore. It's like more and more time goes, the glow goes away, bro. Dead on me. It's like LA have a very negative energy. LA used to feel good. You know what I'm saying? It don't even feel good anymore, bro. Like it's nothing. They taking everything that makes you love LA. They taking the Crenshaw Mall. They knocking the Crenshaw Mall down, the Baldwin Hills Plaza Center. For real, bro? It's like I'm waiting on to say the Slauson about to go out of business.
What is it then? It's a poison. And how much of our diet do you think is poison?
Too much sugar, which poisons your mitochondria. Not enough fiber, which is necessary to suppress inflammation. Not enough omega-3 fatty acids, which are necessary to build your brain and conduct neurotransmission. Too many emulsifiers, which leads to gut inflammation and therefore systemic inflammation. And then we can throw on top of that the food dyes and food additives, which are mutagenic because they're, petroleum-based. That's ultra-processed food. Ultra-processed food has been associated with every single one of these diseases, including every single mental health disease, especially dementia.
Guys, 60 to 70% of our calories come from ultra-processed food. And think about it, we've never been more sick and overweight, so something has to change. So what do? All move to the homestead and grow our own food? No, you can still have cereals and snacks and chips, but find ones not made with ultra-processed ingredients. I'm gonna do you a favor. Put a list down below in the caption of all of the better for you swaps of foods we love in the middle aisle that don't have the ultra processed ingredients. And that's why you want to follow me, my friends. I'll always tell you the better swap and give you the guide to shopping clean, healthy at the grocery store.
I mean, that right there is the definition of greed, right? Like, that should be, think about it, how many people die every year because of that food that's in the grocery store? How many people are on medication because of the food that's in that grocery store, the food that's out at the restaurants, the food that's out at the baseball game, the food that's at the gas station? Like, that should, like, think about how much of a crime that should be that companies are allowed. They're allowed and it's okay to make it. And they make it super addicting so that you keep eating it. It's a drug. It's one of the worst drugs probably ever created. It's just a slow death.
Outside smoking a cigarette on my stoop when I was in the East Village, and then all of a sudden I was like, that's weird. 3 roaches walking by in the daylight. That's kind of weird. You don't see that a lot. Within 5 minutes, falling off the buildings. Our superintendent came out and he was like, what's going on? We saw him like landing on his shoulder. He was freaking out. And then we went inside, came out a couple hours later, and there was thousands of them dead on the street. And I go, what happened? He goes, oh, that's what they do in New York. They're probably trying to sell a building, so they bombed it for roaches, and it just sends tens of thousands of them out onto the street. Probably millions.
The UK has just announced one of the most significant changes to jail terms in decades. As of today, they will be scrapping most short-term jail sentences, meaning the majority of criminals who would usually get up to a 1-year prison sentence will now receive no more than a suspended sentence. Now, the main reason, they simply don't have enough space. I mean, last year, they were even forced to release around 57,000 criminals early because of this, 262 of which were freed in error, including some convicted of sexual assault against minors. But now they're approaching it from the other angle too, and courts have been advised to stop handing out short-term jail sentences unless there are exceptional circumstances. Rehabilitation experts cited by the government argue that short-term jail sentences are ineffective anyway because they do little in reducing reoffending. They argue that community-based alternatives may work better and are now expected to become more of a central element in sentencing in the UK going forward. But the question is, do you guys agree with this decision or not?
So instead of, let's figure out why our jails and prisons are getting overpopulated. Let's maybe try to figure that out. Let's try to figure out what is going on here, right? We're in the UK, it's luxury, whatever. There's, enough to go around. Why is our prisons overpopulated? Instead, they're like, let's just let the ones out that only did a year or two and maybe armed robbery, maybe beat the hell out of their kids or something. Let them go, right? Instead of trying to get to the solution of what's going on, why are people, why is this going on? Why is everyone hooked on drugs? Why is everyone this? Why is all the politicians, where all this drug money supposed to go, getting rich? Let's try to figure that out. Instead, they're just going to let everybody out of prison.
Up an image of it. It's very strange.
Somebody was flying by what they thought was a volcano in the 30s, and he thought, hey, that's somebody built that. Wait a minute, there's 4 by 8 foot bricks. That's man-made. And it is literally the biggest pyramid in the world. It's bigger than the ones in Egypt, and it's in Guatemala. Maybe 20 years ago, I visited. All the pyramids in Tikal would fit inside the one big pyramid in El Mirador. Really? Yeah, it's a monster. And so that tells you that the pre-classic civilization was bigger and grander and more sophisticated than the civilizations that came after it.
Okay, Mr. Warbucks and his pals get together every month and they have a little ceremony where they eat a very rare, very expensive type of meat. I provide that meat.
Oh, God. Are they eating?
No. No, it's not what you think, okay? Yeah, it's people. Yeah. Yeah. No, but they're already gone. So.
Never had a little girl.
And neither has Warbucks and his pals. He's never eaten a kid, okay? All of that meat is adult meat. It's part of the ritual.
Ricky.
Okay.
That show is riddled with little hidden messages like this. These guys always put it right in our faces for everyone to see, but no one to believe. That show alone, I could have content for a year straight. The amount of little hints and things they put in it. And I don't think they'll be stopping anytime soon because everyone will still watch the show. Everyone will continue to support what they do.
Ooh, we've been putting out some bangers lately, y'all. Hour plus banger after hour plus banger. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. You made it this far. You know what to do. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Y'all got a doctor's appointment for the baby. His year in 3 months, so we got to go there, right? Don't like going to the pediatrician, but it's got to be done. Other than that, nothing much going on, y'all. Nothing much going on. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, y'all. I'm gonna see you guys on the next one tomorrow, right? For another hour banger, hopefully. This is Segovia signing on the Man Cave. I'll see you then. Later.